Howdy. Ginger Jesus, secular parenting. I grew up in a pretty poor neighborhood. Early 90s, a lot of violence. And I experienced a lot of that violence. I was a victim of violence. I got jumped a lot. Almost always by the black kids in my neighborhood. Now, why am I specifically saying the black kids in my neighborhood? I'm saying that because I had to get over a lot of my own issues, a lot of my own anger issues, and a lot of my own straight up racism issues because I grew up in an environment where I experienced violence that way. Now, I look back as an adult and I'm like, I recognize the socioeconomic issues, I recognize the stresses, I recognize the pressures, I recognize how I appear to my peers. I'm not going to excuse their behavior, I'm not going to excuse my behavior, but I'm going to say that we were kids. And there comes a point where you got to look back at the past and realize that we were kids. And as a kid, we're going to make illogical emotional decisions that are going to bite us in the behinds. And you read in the parenting books, set expectations for your children, set expectations. Require your children to achieve expectations by setting expectations. And that's mostly how I parent. And I'm assuming how many of you parent. By saying, I want you to act a certain way in public. I want you to act a certain way at home. Not meeting those expectations, negative, positive reinforcements, whatnot. But, everybody keeps saying you set higher expectations, your children will achieve higher and higher goals. And while that is true, the failure from those high goals is harder. It's more emotionally traumatic to our children when they reach for the stars and hit the ground. And I think, so I look back at my own pain and the forgiveness I had to give. And I'm like, I can forgive those children for the way they fail to control their emotions. And I have to remember to give my own children the same courtesy when they fail. To set those high expectations and expect those high expectations to be met, but also understand that their failure is my failure. And by trying to give all of my failure to them, I am asking them to take on more than their responsibility, emotionally, intelligently. Sharing that failure with my child, accepting that failure as a rational person, saying this is a learning experience. We have failed and we will do better. We have failed and the world will move on. This goal did not get achieved. And while that sucks, it'll be okay. I'm Ginger Jesus. This is Secular Parenting. Be good to yourselves out there.